Welcome to the Beyond the Pole, and I'm Katrina Lee, and I'm pretty excited about today's show. We have Roxii Love reappearing, and my friend Bobby, who, his name's a little disguised, but most of you guys met him through the years, and he's been in a lot of functions, and he's helped bounce some stags, and, we've had a lot of good times. One of my great friends from University at Buffalo, out in the Buffalo area, but he's been to Erie, Rochester, pretty much everywhere with me.
He's been around.
Yes, he's definitely been around, like the lap dance couches you find at the clubs. But
I'm just along for the ride. I don't.
Right.
Pun intended.
My name's Katrina Lee. I own Cats Meow Entertainment, and I also do a lot of different stuff and events, and I'm actually a psychopathic abuse survivor. And on this show specifically, we're going to be talking about some different stuff with domestic violence and some different things going on. And I got out of this horrible relationship, and I got out 6 months ago and managed to get away. And, it continued on through all levels of a power and control perspective model to where it developed into financial and legal abuse, where he was just finding and making up stuff constantly, trying to get me arrested, and with weird jails and constant bails and issues. And it was a nightmare, and finally made some waves in court this week, and it was a success. And I want to thank my lawyer, Matt Albert, out in Buffalo, and I recommend him to anyone. He's a big animal rights activist and did a great job, and we had some charges dropped that I was innocent of, and I really appreciate it because it's been really stressful and stuff going on. So I know Roxie's had some experiences, and Bobby's also has witnessed the stuff I've been going through and knows some other people. So it's going to be a unique thing in a show today, and we're going to be cutting into a song that I was talking about with Roxii and everyone earlier that we seem to associate deeply with strip clubs. So let's hear some Warrant Cherry Pie and discuss it when we get back.
Let's do it.
All right. Welcome back to Beyond the Pole with Katrina Lee, Roxii, and Bobby today.
Hey.
And that was Warrant Cherry Pie. And I think all of us have had experiences with that song over the years. And Roxii, how do you feel about that song?
Walking into a gentleman's club for one of my first times. That's really engraved in my mind. A veteran dancer, as we like to call them. She must have been dancing since the 80s, but she did her thing. She got up on stage, and just like the videos you see from the 80s, even the Motley Crue video, Girls, Girls, Girls.
Yeah.
I mean, you really picture that. This is exactly what I have as an image in my head.
Oh, wow.
When I hear that song.
Now, would
The
either
pumps, like the 90s style pumps.
You can't get more stereotyped than that song, yeah.
now would you
Yeah.
guys ever eat cherry pie after all
I
these?
don't know.
I love cherry
I
pie.
think they all have some whipped cream or whatever. But speaking of that, I think you have some funny whipped cream stories also, Roxii.
Here we go. Well, we did a gentleman's cabaret golf tournament not so many years ago. And there's actually a couple stories. We had some girls with the chocolate, the chocolate whipped cream, with the alcohol in it.
Alcohol whipped cream.
This one was actually my girlfriend that I was with in the golf cart, and she actually put some on her butt. And she did not realize at the time how nasty it looked. Nobody wanted any of that.
No.
They're turning it down. We'll stay away from the brown.
So yeah, there was a couple instances where the whipped cream got a little too close to, the JJ area.
Yes, the nether region.
Yeah, and had a little oopsies, got in a little trouble at that one, but that was fun.
Yeah, at the same time it came out, I have a stay company. I kind of laid low for 2 years, and it's coming back and stuff. And I think everyone learned their lesson pretty quickly. It was kind of a common thing of sprinkle some down there as a game. And I was like, oh my gosh, it burns. Frantically trying to, and it doesn't
Don't
go
put
away.
alcohol down there. Bad.
Ideas also, even the body shots, you think it's a good idea to take it off. They go, no, you don't want to do it down there.
No.
It's really horrifying.
No matter how drunk you are, it's not a good idea.
Yeah, it's never good. But so upcoming, I started to add on this quotes of the week thing, and the quote I picked is, they say best men are molded out of faults and for the most become much more the better for being a little bad by William Shakespeare. And I just thought that was kind of cool because a lot of people I know who became the strongest all had some story or they went through some trials or tribulations to become a better person. No one's really that perfect. Or if you are, you don't have the world experience to understand. So how do you feel? You agree with that? Or do you
Absolutely.
have anything?
I think that goes for all human beings is, you know, they say whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And it is true. So think about being alive today and everything you've been through. You are a survivor.
Yeah. And I know you are too and stuff. And a lot of women are, especially women in the adult industry, you know, all have had to see, you know, issues with negative family relationships, foster care, usually issues at school.
It's not all daddy
negative
issues, guys.
relationships. Yeah, it's all different and all different walks of life. Or even just you didn't really want to get in the industry, but you had hardships that came up and you kind of had to, or single mothers. And a lot of the women I'm really proud of are all survivors and stuff. So that's neat. And myself, like I said, I'm a survivor of domestic abuse and everything. And I want to help, you know, make a difference. And I was just really disgusted with how my court case has been going because I'm in domestic violence court.
Right.
And what's been happening is I have a female judge and I'm just being targeted as I'm this person who's so negative and she's just kind of believing and I'm getting in a lot of trouble over and over for stuff I didn't do.
Right.
And it's just been negative and you would think that she would look and knowing it's domestic violence and seeing when you have over 18 different court cases in different areas adding up, business related or something, maybe there's an issue going on.
Right.
And when you look at the other person involved's background and you see he's got years of issues with domestic violence and multiple arrests and cases, maybe you should also look at the person who has no criminal record before you judge and assume.
I think that also goes with people in high positions of authority. A lot of those people, you know, they don't go through necessarily all the hardships you do. I mean, there's a lot of get out of jail free cards for people with, you know, certain positions. So sometimes I can see that it would be hard for someone of authority in the system to look at somebody in your position and relate.
Yeah, no, it's sad because it's like domestic violence and then there's these integrated domestic court systems, IDV and a state supreme. So they take those cases where they see it's added up and there's an issue and they screen it and they look at it. And I don't understand how it necessarily didn't jump into at that point because anyone who would know anything with domestic violence or any psychopathic stuff or books like would be aware this is happening. And I noticed even in rehabs and things that they are unaware of how to treat a lot of these people or they don't catch it because a lot of people in domestic abuse relationships aren't like talking about it. They're not saying because they're afraid. So they're getting lumped in with alcoholics or Al-Anon and stuff. And there should be separate programs. And finally, after a while, I found the right place to talk to. And, you know, I went to Haven House and the Family Justice Center and Crisis Services in Buffalo.
Where's that
with Cassidy in Buffalo, that is, because that's the area I was in. I'm up in Rochester now. And I applaud them all for helping me through this nightmare. And I have the best support system of friends and people who have really been there for me. And this whole week was just really draining, and I picked as my song of the week Jackson Browne, Running on Empty, because that's how I felt. Like it just kept going, but it was all successes in court, but it didn't feel like any great success, you know. And I just feel I'd rather help people not have to repeat the nightmares that I went through and maybe get some more advocates aware of like what a true psychopath or narcissistic relationship is, you know. So let's, you know, play that song and, you know, let's hear what you guys think. Welcome back to Beyond the Pole, and I'd like to send a special thank you to Hollywood Treasures, and they help support us, and they pay top dollar for gold and diamonds located at 772 Eastridge Road in Rochester, and tell them we sent you. And, you know, I picked the Jackson Browne Running on Empty song. Like I said, I've had a very stressful kind of week that's been good and bad. Just it's hard to celebrate because there was no real gains. And one thing that occurred to me that a lot of people don't realize that I think more women should be aware of out there is I thought this was like a romantic kind token that my ex gave me a cell phone and it was brand new and I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And he's like, you'll save money, you can cancel your line and stuff. And I didn't think of the long-term outcome that, you know, later on it turned into a nightmare of him going through my phone records, accusing me of stuff, screaming like a maniac, forcing me to call other people.
And he owned the plan.
Because he
right?
owned the plan, so he could see everything. And, it would be meeting someone that I was in a meeting or AA or something with, and I'd be accused, you were with him, you did this, you did that, and alienating me from my friends, girlfriends who were mine. I was being accused of trying to have threesomes and go out and pick up guys at like botanical gardens and stuff, and hundreds of calls, and at the zoo. Yeah, Ravi was there. We were at the zoo, and hundreds of calls during this event. You need to leave now. It's not even 9:30.
He must have some wild fantasies.
Yeah, like, I mean, on top of that, I'm not just cheating. I'm having sex with the giraffes, and just getting down and wild,
Oh, I thought it was the elephants.
Yeah, the
You
elephants.
and me, baby.
I mean, I'm used to pigs, but I mean, I just wanted more exotic wildlife for now, that trunk of the elephant, I'm sure. No, but so everyone would witness, and it started, and then it would turn to this and that, and then he'd have your friends' numbers, and then they could call. But what happened after the fact, because I, for some reason, just don't always think everyone's evil and look for goodness and
You try
kindness.
to see the good in people.
Yeah, and then so I didn't think then it would backfire, because you'd see every contact or everyone I was trying to use help to get away with. Anytime I tried calling for help, anytime that I tried to set up another job to get away, to start building financial backup to get out of the situation,
Right.
he could call and he would threaten them and stuff like that, and it just created a nightmare. And it was triangulation, and on my Cats Meow Cares, KATS Meow KARES page, it's all about like domestic abuse and narcissistic relationships. And triangulation is a big word, because what they do is they call family members and stuff and try to get them
Third
involved
party.
by third parties, friends saying you're drinking, you're out of control. So then they don't know what's going on, and then people don't know who to believe, and it
Right.
creates conflict and kind of like gaslighting and stuff. And they're aware, and I don't know if you ever dealt with that in a relationship where maybe some man constantly kept calling your parents and telling on you, and you're like, I'm an adult. This doesn't make sense.
I don't know about constantly, but I definitely had exes that would wait for the, perfect moment for the pot to boil over between us. And that's when they would make just a nice, short, sweet little phone call and just drop, take the pin out of the bomb and just throw it in the cauldron. And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was that. Yeah.
See, mine was, it was the only time it ever happened, but constantly calling my mom, my dad about anything, and just, it was weird. And then they stopped believing me, and then we get away, and they realize, wow, I don't know what we were thinking, and it turned out of control. And Ravi, I know you have a neighbor who's trying to get out of a negative relationship, and your family's kind of been helping her. So, what would you say about there? What was one of the things she's been doing?
It's sort of watching it. It was because I talked to my mother about this. She's been helping, and it was been over this. It was like an abusive relationship where he's been cheating on her, and the worst part is that they have two sons, and the sons really haven't been involved or trying to help the mother in help. It's two grown up boys now that have been outside, so they haven't either gotten involved or gotten in the middle of that. So my mom's been helpful in this situation, giving an assistance, either working when the lawyer she'd come over, set up some phone calls. So my mom would talk to the lawyer and help her on her behalf. There's some papers. There's couple suitcases I know that we had of papers of financial papers or other papers.
Yeah, I love that you did that, because I look at some of the stuff, because I kind of saw it coming, but I didn't, because I was tied up with my job and my business. So I was scared to make the moves because it was going to be a big blow. So it took longer than I was ready. But I lost a lot of documents financially that I really needed that could have helped me right now. And I think it's smart. Like, she had backups and she gave us somewhere safe. And I didn't, and you told me it after the fact, and I wish it crossed my mind, but I think other women and people out there should hear some of this stuff, because you never know.
And the other thing too is, like, even still now, it's like a lot of lawyer correspondences will come to our house first.
Yeah.
And then once that happens, then we decide, either like my mom will we'll bring it over to hand it to her in person, where possible, so that we know that the papers get to the right place. God forbid if someone looks at mailbox or looks in a mailbox and tries to search out stuff. So
yeah, see, I was having problems because I was trying to get help. So I'm trying at the time it was going on while I was with them to talk to people at Haven House and different stuff and get out of it, because I've had my arms broken, a lot of aggressive abuse that went on, and like held hostage pretty much.
And people
just
really,
bad.
There's a lot of people out there who have not been through it, women and then men who obviously haven't taken part in it. but they don't realize statistically the rate of which domestic abuse actually happens and does happen in front of other family members and children. And, you know, a lot of times this stuff, even like, you know, sexual assault, it goes unreported for a very long time, sometimes forever.
People, I mean, they're afraid, they don't know the help. Then a lot of them have kids, so then they don't know what to do. And like, actually, a lot of the statistics that I learned after the fact when I realized what a lot of the problems that I was dealing with were, they say it's usually 7 to 8 times to get away. And I was 8 attempts that I managed to get in or out or kind of discarded as they'll do that. They like lose interest because you're starting to stand up for yourself and they're looking for their next target. So they'll throw you away while the other victim is like feeding their narcissistic levels.
I think a lot of it too, I'm sure a lot of people have heard this phrase before, but it's Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
And it's basically where the victim feels there's nothing wrong with feeling compassion for another human being, but when they are abusing you, it is not okay. And it's okay to, you know, be distant and feel bad for them, but to keep running back and not standing up for yourself, you know, it's detrimental.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is unlike a lot of abusive relationships, psychopath ones and narcissistic and like sociopaths are the worst because they have the thing and they like feed you so much love with the love bombing attention, and then they drop it and they start getting attention. You sit there the whole time trying to get back that love, those first feelings, things to be recreated, and they just keep toying with you and you know, it just starts. And usually, even if they can behave and pull their facade, it never usually lasts after 6 months. And what's happening is it's going on now with my former abuser. And now I'm back in the target spotlight because he's upset because I'm doing well. I'm happy.
Right.
And so, oh, wait, no, we got to knock her down. So it's starting the whole problem all over again.
I had one ex that I hadn't not been with him for maybe a month. And I was already, you know, starting to see other people, and we were out in public, and from behind, you know, my ex runs up and jumps this new guy that I'm out dating.
Ugh.
And
Jealousy.
a couple
he wanted
weeks,
you back.
Yeah, a couple weeks after that, one of his family members, one of his brothers, was in a vehicle and saw me on the expressway and actually tried running me off the expressway.
Yeah.
And I have been run off the road before just from, you know, a stranger from road rage. And people don't realize, you know, there are consequences and there can be worst case scenarios. And if you hurt someone, I mean, you have to live with that for the rest of your life, whether out in the public or even silently. And if you were to, you know, do something so bad that, you know, there was no going back, how would you really live with yourself?
Oh, I absolutely agree. But we are going to actually start winding up the show today. So I want to thank you guys for coming out. And Roxie will be back again someday. She's one of my favorite people. And thank you, Bobby. You know, I just thought it'd be something fun and different, you know. And thank you to Hollywood Treasures, located at 772 East Ridge Road in Rochester. Their number is 585-323-2174. Raphael's the owner. Tell him we said hi. Stop on in. They pay the best for gold. And they have a whole bunch of different DVDs, unique items, perfumes, all different stuff to buy.
Definitely the best pawn shop in
It is. It's
Rochester.
clean. It's a nice area. There's nice parking. You don't really have to worry about anything. And because they do have good volume and other outside sales with eBay and different home goods
family-run
and stuff. Like you
business
can
too,
get,
so.
you know, like vacuums. So, you know, it's nice. And
If you need
so
a
they get
vacuum,
good prices
you know
because
where
they
to
have
go.
sales. So thank you very much. And, you know, we look forward to seeing you all back and hearing you next week.
Hey, I got a question. If I wanted to hear the show again,
Oh, yeah. Also, you can check us out on rochesterfreeradio.com/podcast and facebook.com/beyond the pole radio. Thank you.